So at this stage, I am now ready to trace my drawing onto my final paper. So I have a light pad in my classroom. This is the one that I have. You can turn it on here. You can hold the button and it can make it brighter or dimmer. You could also, if you don't have a light pad, you could use a window. But really, you just need to be able to put your drawing underneath your paper, tape it down, and trace your main lines. If you put the paper on top and you can't quite see it, you can always take a 6B pencil and darken up some of these lines, which is, I think I'm gonna have to do that for a few of these. So let me do that and then I'll come back and trace it. So I went back and made the lines darker, and it should be pretty clear and easy to see when I trace it. So I'm gonna turn on the light pad, make sure it's bright enough. And I like to tape my paper down to make sure it doesn't move and slide while I'm trying to trace it. I didn't end up cutting the edge of that piece off, so I'm just gonna make sure that my new paper is lined up with the top. When you're tracing, I choose to use a 2B pencil. I can control my pressure pretty well and press super lightly so it won't be dark. I know some students that like to use HB pencils, so it's really your preference. If you use an HB, just make sure you're not pressing too hard. You don't want to leave that divot in your paper. So I've got my 2B. When you're tracing, you also want to make sure that you are drawing very, very lightly. You do not want heavy outlines. So even for the video, I'm not trying to mess up my drawing, so I'm hoping that they'll show up well. If not, I might zoom in and show you, but I'm tracing over it very, very lightly. I have heard students say before that they don't like their tracing as much as their original drawing. I think that's because when you're tracing, it's not really a sketchy line, it's just an outline. And so automatically when you pull this paper off, it's not going to look as realistic as your original drawing, but when you start shading, you'll be able to bring back some of that from your original drawing that you liked. Okay, now I think that I'm pretty much done. I'm going to turn off the light pad, and now I can see what the tracing looks like before I take it off. So if I'm missing something, hopefully I'll catch it now. I think I've got everything. So hopefully you can see that on the video. I kept everything really light. Generally, if you draw everything out and you press really hard and you have really dark lines, that's when my students tend to dislike their tracing more than their original drawing. So I'll hold it a little bit closer. You can kind of see those lines better now. And now it's ready for shading.